Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hopefully, you all can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. But welcome to another live. This is going to be like a lunch and learn where we're going to be talking about 6 ways to kind of speed up that budget planning process. And this is the process of what I will do on a monthly basis. I've kind of added these things into my routine in order to help me really speed line or like stream, make it a little bit easier for me to set up my planning. I think that this might be the top challenge that most people have when it comes to planning. When I'm talking about like setting up a planner, using a planner consistently, they will usually say they struggle with the time to set aside, to sit down and actually set up the planner. And so that has been ultimately the struggle. And so I wanted to talk about some ways to make that a little bit easier. I do understand that I am an avid planner, meaning that I like planning is like kind of baked into my schedule. But if it's not baked into your schedule yet, if you don't have the habit yet, then hopefully this one will help you, because we know that we have to learn how to budget on paper. We have to learn how to budget on paper or learn some type of budgeting system, whatever works for your life. Because I believe that when you start to write down your numbers, you really start to take control. You start to see actually what's happening with your money. You start to be a little bit more conscious about your spending when you start to write down the numbers. The problem is that sometimes we feel like we don't have time to write down the numbers. We feel like we are just bombarded, we're overwhelmed, we have a lot of things on our plate, and so we can't write them down consistently. And so these are some of the things that I believe will help you to start writing those things down consistently. But first, if this is your very first live, hi, I am Elena. I'm an accountant, I'm a financial therapist, I'm a pastor, I'm a content creator, but I help people learn how to plan their life and manage their money. I talk a lot about paper planning here because paper planning is my love. I love using a planner in order to organize every single thing in my life. And so that is what I talk about a lot on my channel on the Organized Money. I also have a membership called the Organize You, and we dive deeper into planning there as well as execution of those plans. So hello, everyone in the chat box. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this is a very different time, but I'm trying out like a lunch and learn and see how this works with my current schedule. My schedule has been really crazy, which is kind of how we got to this particular video. When you have a bunch of things kind of going on, you really need a way to speed up the process. You really need a way to make everything kind of go much, much faster as far as your budget planner setup. And so this is the way that I will speed things up. So this is going to be a quick 45-minute class. We're going to be talking about 6 ways that I have 6 things I've added into my setup that really, really helps me to budget consistently and quickly. All right. Let me see real quick. Would a 12-month budget system plan help dive into setting up a monthly plan? Yes. And a lot of things that I will do is, especially if you have a 12-month budget system, you can kind of preset a lot of the upcoming expenses in your 12-month planner. And I'm going to lightly talk about that as well as we go through the slides. But that is something that I will do. I try and set up as much as I can as I go, instead of waiting for a particular time to set up my planner. And that's because a lot of times we don't have time to do the official full setup, but we can keep planning as we go, especially if you have a tight schedule. You have something coming up in March, you have something coming up in October. You can go to your October page within your 12-month planner and add it there. I understand you may not have the decor yet, or you may not be able to have time to set up the entire thing. But what you can do is you can write things in and then you can go back and decorate. That is what I have been doing lately, and it has been working wonders for my planning system. All right. So let's get into these 6 things, these 6 ways that I have sped up my budget planning process. The very first one is setting a day. You got to set a monthly money day. Does not have to take a lot of time. It does not have to be a full day. It does not have to be 8 hours that you're setting aside for this, but you do need to set aside at least 20 to 30 minutes. An hour would be best in order to set a time for your money. And this is a time that you're going to basically be managing and looking at your money for the month and allocating that money for the month. So what goes into setting this type of day? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine and show you what's kind of in what I do on this day. The first thing is my money day is usually the last Friday of a month for the very next month. So if it's like the 28th, right before the first, that is, if whatever that Friday is before that first, that's the day that I'm going to be setting aside to look at everything that's coming up with our money. So Fridays are a big planning day for me. That is usually the day that I like to set up. I used to do it on Sundays. However, now my Sundays are really busy with church. And so now that we have a church and we usually have other events and things going on Sunday afternoons, and I like to take a Sabbath, which means that I try and rest a lot on Sundays, I had to switch my planning day. So I moved mine to Fridays because Saturdays was also another running family day. So I will set up for the very next week on a Friday. I will also set up for a new month on a Friday, if it's also a new month with my money on a Friday. So depending on the Friday, it definitely will take a lot more time. It just depends on that Friday. But when I decided that this was going to be the day, and I have set aside time to do this consistently on this day, it helps me overall with this routine. I am not trying to think through when I am going to do it. I automatically schedule this day as for these particular tasks. I know that this is the day that I usually will do this. So I try my best to minimize any other things that could come up and ruin me setting up my planner on this day. Now, there are certain times where stuff comes up where I can't help it. It's going to be on this particular Friday and I am unable to schedule around it. Like I'm unable to schedule that full time for just planning. And when that happens, I will either move it to the Thursday before or I will move it to the Monday afterwards. But it still is going to happen. The fact that I know it's supposed to happen on this day cues my brain. It lets me know, hey, this is the day that you're supposed to be doing this planning. This is the day you're supposed to be setting up the month for your money. This is the day you're supposed to be looking at it. And if you can't do it on this day, then let's decide what is going to be the other day. It is not for you to just say, oh, well, I can't do it, or I forgot to do it, or we just kind of roll into the month and just don't set it up at all because we're not really paying attention to the days. We're not being intentional with our days. And so it just kind of flows into another month. So the first thing that you want to do is decide when this day is going to be. Like I said, mine is the last Friday of every month. And when you do this, it will help you to build up that routine. It'll stop procrastination because you know this is something that you're supposed to be doing on this particular day. It will reduce financial anxiety. It will make budgeting feel less overwhelming because you are already prepared for planning and doing this on this particular day. It will give you predictable financial check-ins. I know that this is the day that I look at my money. I know all of the things I'm supposed to be doing. And so I have way more confidence when it comes to looking at my money consistently. So this is the very first thing that I would say that you need to do in order to speed up the process is decide the same day and time on the month that you are going to do these particular tasks where you are going to look at your money. So that is the very first thing that you need to do. The second thing is keep a bill tracker. Keep a list of all of your monthly bills. This is a list of all of the things that are coming up for the month that you can easily glance and look at. And it just makes it easy for you to automatically know all of the bills that are coming up for that month. I started keeping a bill tracker, and I actually give my bill tracker away. I did it if you subscribe to my mailing list. So if you aren't on my mailing list, make sure you subscribe and you can get the link to this bill tracker. It's absolutely free. But I love this bill tracker because I am able to see everything. If you look at the sheet, you can see everything that's coming up for the month and the date that it's due. And so this makes it much, much easier for me to set up my planner. If I am trying to think through or look at my bank account and trying to figure out what bills are coming on what days, there may be certain ones that I automatically know, like my mortgage. But the other bills, I probably won't automatically remember them all. And so having a bill tracker makes it much, much easier and faster for you to set everything up. The first thing that it really will do also is help you help you prevent any missed payments. So if before you didn't have a bill tracker, you probably would forget about a bill, because a lot of times we're trying to remember and we're just trying to remember all of these bills and we just cannot remember them all. And so then we miss a date, we miss a payment, and now we have a late fee and there's additional costs to that, right? It also will give you a clear financial snapshot. So I love having a bill tracker because I can add up all of these bills, and then that easily lets me see how much disposable income I have versus my fixed income, right? So I have income coming in, and I might think that I'm making so much money throughout the month, but when I add up all of these monthly bills, if I already am, if I only have like $200-300 left over after all of my bills, well, what about food? And what about, gas? And what about all of the other little expenses, shopping and other things that can come up, any miscellaneous expenses that can come from that? So this can easily help you to identify if you have a challenge with too many bills, is if you writing down all of these bills, and then you can see exactly how much you would need for all of them. This simplifies your budget as well. Like, I'm able to easily pull this out, and I will pull it from planner to planner. I usually only fill this out in the month of January, and then I will just set it up throughout the year using this exact same one. The only time I will add to it is if I have a new bill that's kind of being added into my system, but that makes it easy as well because I could just add it on here, and then that makes it so where I don't forget about it. So here are what I would recommend for you to have within your bill tracker. So I like to have the bill name as far as what type of bill it is. It's your internet, it's your car insurance, it's your mortgage, it's Netflix, whatever the bill is. And then I also like to add in the due date. What is the due date of that particular bill? And then the bill amount. Now, if you're using this every single month, you can definitely do that. And then you can write down the amount as you pay it. That's not the way I use it. I usually just keep it in the front of my budget planner. So I have, in which I don't have my planner right here, but I have my budget planner, and then right in the front right before that month, I will add in my bill tracker. So it's within my budget planner that I am planning in for the month. I just use it whenever I am setting up that month on my monthly calendar. I will look at this bill tracker, and then I will copy everything over from the bill tracker to my monthly calendar. Oh, wonderful. And if you're trying to get a copy of the bill tracker, remember, it is free. If you sign up, if you go to my description, the description box after this video, I want to say it has to go live. Like, we have to be off of live. So once I'm off of live, I'll post it and save it as a pinned comment to the top of this live. But it also should be in my description box. It should have a link to my email list. And once you're there, once you sign up, it will send you a bill tracker. I've also sent it out a couple of times. So if you're already on my email list, you should have it in your inbox. If not, just message me and I can definitely get that to you. But it is automatically sent to you when you sign up for my mailing list because it is absolutely free. But this one, I do recommend that you have the name of the bill, the due date, the pay amount. Especially if it's on auto pay or it's manual, sometimes I will write that next to the bill itself. I didn't put it here, but like Netflix, for instance, that's an automatic transfer. I'll put a little A, like a little A in parentheses to let myself know that that's an auto pay. And then anything else that doesn't have the A, I know it's automatic. I need to pay it. It's a manual payment. You can also check it off. Like I said, I don't use this one. I use it monthly, but I use it in order to transfer the bills over to my monthly calendar. So I'm not checking these off as I pay them. I usually use it as kind of like my hub just to see everything that's going on for a month. And then I can add it to my monthly calendar. But you definitely need some type of bill tracker. Bill trackers can really, really save you a lot of time on your setup because now I'm not trying to think through, oh, what bill is this day? What bill is that day? I'm not trying to think through all of that. I literally have everything already listed out and I'm just copying over from my bill tracker to my monthly calendar. And so this one is definitely something that I believe you should have within your system. The third thing is adding to your monthly calendar. So I just kind of lightly talked about how the bill tracker and the monthly calendar work together. And so you want to be able to add all of these onto your monthly calendar. I feel like doing this at the beginning of the month makes it much, much easier to check everything off. So I will move everything from my bill tracker to this monthly calendar. And here is a copy of one of my older bills where I added in all of the bills. I also added in my payday and I also had stickers for when I was saving. So all of this was on my monthly calendar and I love this view because it really, really helps you to see how much is going in your account, how much is coming out of your account, when certain things are due. You are less likely to make late payments because it's right there in your face, the due date along with the payment that is due and when it's coming out. I will also add on here, if it's an auto pay, I will put the little A next to it. And then when it clears my account, I will check it off. So this makes it really easy for you to go throughout the month and just lightly check everything off without having to write a bunch of things at the beginning of your week. You're really just kind of using this as your viewpoint to just see what's coming up. It really creates what we call financial rhythm. And that rhythm is when you just get into a routine, you get into a flow, you are just adding your bills into your calendar, you're seeing everything kind of as it comes through, and it makes it less likely for you to be overwhelmed or caught off guard. And that's my big thing. I try my best not to be caught off guard. Now, I can't say I'm not always. Sometimes there are, expenses that just come out the blue, but it's not a bill. Usually it's another type of expense. But it is, and we'll talk about how I handle that a little bit later on. But for now, when we're talking about the bills will never catch you off guard if you are using this system. You're going to remember every single bill because it's going to be right in front of you on your monthly calendar. All right, let's see. I have a question. Hi, when you record your monthly income, do you use the monthly average annual net divided by 12, or do you use the actual deposits that you will see that month? Some months have 3 pay periods. Yes, I use what hits my account because I am trying to go by the exact amount of money that I have in my account to actually allocate everything out. Sometimes when we are just looking at our total income, I might say, okay, if I'm looking at my total income, I'm going to subtract all of the other things. If I'm just trying to keep track of all the things coming out of my paycheck, you could definitely do that. But when we're talking about your budget, your at-home budget, We are using the exact number that hits your account because that's how much money you have for your bills, for your expenses, and for anything else that's coming up. You only have what actually hits your account. So for me, for instance, I have money that hits my business account, but I don't allocate my paydays or looking at my budget planner based on what hit my business account. My business could have made a bunch of money, but I pay myself a certain salary. And so I can't go off of what the income of the business that it made because that money is going to a bunch of other things. I am only looking at what's coming into the house to pay the bills of the house. And so I am only looking at the amount that was direct deposited into my account, including if it's another payday. So if you have, because I pay myself weekly, so if there is a fifth week, a lot of times I will take that fifth week, I will still budget it, and I might even roll it over to the brand new month to pay for some things there, or I could possibly just pay just for food and gas and save the rest because it's an extra check. But it just depends on how much money is actually in my account. That is the amount that I will actually budget. That is what I am going to use to look at how much to allocate toward every single bill that I have. All right. So the fourth thing that you want to do is use highlighters or stickers to assign paydays. So I just showed you that in my last slide. As you can see, I have stickers here. I also have stickers here to allocate my savings, but I also will use highlighters. And I love using highlighters on my expense trackers, even if I'm not taking time to add everything up, because sometimes I don't have time to add all of the things up. But once again, we're talking about ways to speed up this budget process. And so what I will do is highlight or color code based on the expense. So if I'm spending a lot on food might be green, or personal might be purple, or subscriptions might be blue. And then I'm just highlighting those particular categories, and I'm going to add them up whenever I get the chance, probably toward the end of the month, to see how much I spent in each one of these categories. Highlighting it makes it much easier for me to add everything up, because now instead of looking and deciphering what this expense was, I am only looking for a color. I'm looking for the color green. And if I see the color green, I know that's food. Let me just add up these numbers. And it makes it much, much faster for me to add everything up and see how much I spent in total. And so I love to use highlighters. I love to use stickers. I love to add decor across my page. And do you need to do any of this? You don't. You really, really don't. But I feel like the more fun I add into my budget, the more likely I am going to do it. I'm going to do it because it's not as boring when I get to add some stickers and when I get to like highlight and the page looks a little pretty, like, right? It makes me more inclined to actually stick with this budgeting, and it encourages my budget check-ins. So I will do this consistently. I will add stickers, I will add highlights, and it does make it a little bit more fun for me. And I am more likely to stick to my budget. And it makes it faster, of course, with these highlights, because once I'm highlighting, especially the expense tracker, if I highlight all of the food expenses that come up, I can just easily add up everything. And then that makes it much, much fun for me to just quickly see how much I've spent. Okay, should you set up a bill account at a different bank from your deposit account? I actually would not recommend having them in two separate banks for this. Your deposit account and your bill account are going to work very, very closely together. They are going to be hand in hand. Usually you are going to be transferring money from your deposit account into your bill account in order to pay bills, in order to stay on top of everything, in order to make sure, like, take out money for spending, whatever the case may be. You're going to be transferring money very often from your deposit account into your bill account, at least every time you get paid, which means that If they are at two different banks, now you either have to go back and forth to the ATM, take out money here, to deposit it here, to pay bills, to do whatever. And now you're going back and forth a lot, which might not be sustainable. Or the second thing that could possibly happen is you're transferring money from your deposit account into your bill account, and it's taking 3 days. It takes 2 to 3 days in order for that process to hit, which means that it's slowing down your budget process. Like it's slowing it down by days instead of, for you taking an hour. Now you have to take like two days in order to complete your setup. So I actually would recommend having it at the same bank. And if you don't want to have a bunch of like multiple accounts where it's just like, oh, I don't want to have that many accounts. The other thing you could do is have one of those accounts where you can categorize it. I think Allie does it, where instead of having two separate accounts, you have one account, but you can put it in buckets, and it's like the money is kind of separate. Mine is, I do have two separate checking accounts, but they are all with the same bank. So I have 3 accounts at one bank, and then my big emergency fund account is with, it's a high yield savings account. So that one's with American Express, but the other ones are with Chase, right? So I would recommend, if it's a deposit account and a bill account, that they be at the same bank. But if it's your big savings account, any type of savings, you could possibly move that one to a separate account to encourage you from, to discourage you from moving that money, because we want that money to stay in our savings account. So that one you might want to keep separate, but the other ones together. All right. So let's go to the next thing, and that is to have a command center. So a money command center, I think, is slept on so much, because I absolutely love having one spot where I could just sit and everything I need is already set and ready for me. Everything is already there. All I'm doing is sitting down and opening up my budget planner. And so this is my command center. It's super simple. It's not anything like extravagant. We're talking about my desk. And then I have a notebook, which that's like my brainstorming notebook. I also have my budget planner. I have some stickers. I have highlighters. I have a calculator. I have a stapler. And then I have my mail center right in that corner there. My mail center is just where I am collecting different pieces of envelopes, especially if they're bills, and I just want to make sure that I pay attention to them at the beginning of the month. So your command center can definitely have a budget planner. It can, like my bill trackers in my budget planner. I also can update my savings and my debt spreadsheets from in my budget planner. I have a calculator. I have some folders underneath this table too for different things that I just needed to keep track of. Certain things that I paid off that I just wanted to keep the paperwork for. And so I have that underneath. And then I also have pens, highlighters, stickers. You can use some type of password sheet if that's for you. I have a password app that is in my phone. And so I will use that when I need it. And then I also have the mail station right here, so that I'm able to kind of stay on top of this. So when I sit here, everything is at my fingertips. Every single thing that I need is right there. And this makes it much, much easier for me to set up my budget, because I don't need to go and look for this or look for that or see where the calculator is and where's the mail and didn't that envelope come in? And like, no, everything is right here. So like for instance, I had the renewal for our Terminix that came in. So I put it in here, and I also got a bill from the hospital. That was our like copay, and I put that in there. So all of those other random little bills that kind of came up, I would use my little my mail station here, and then at the beginning of the month when I am setting up a brand new month, I just look through it so that I could add those things to my budget planner. Because remember, those are not bills, they are just additional things that I have to pay that have come up throughout the course of the month. It's like a one-time expense, it's a one-time bill that I need to cover. And so I will keep those within this, and then when I'm sitting in my command center, I will open up my planner, and then I am just adding everything in there. And like I said, I have my calculator, I have everything at my fingertips. I can staple papers, I can put them underneath. And there's also a trash can that's right to the right of this desk. So it's right to the right of it. And so I have my trash can, I have my file folders, I have my planner, I have my highlighters, my mail, everything in this one spot. I literally can sit down and just do all of it and not move for like 45 minutes if I need to. And so that makes this process much, much easier, because instead of thinking about where am I going to sit down? Where am I going to set up? Where did I put the calculator? Oh, what happened to that last month? And I can't find this paperwork. Instead of that being the frustration of this process, it's not that. I am just sitting down and I am just setting everything up as I go. So it's a wonderful way for you to speed up that budget planning process. All right. Does the rollover amount from the previous month, both account and cash, be considered as income together with your actual paycheck? Yes, I do this all the time. I will do this now. Sometimes, depending on the amount, sometimes I might save some of it, but if it's like under $200, I will more than likely roll it into my pay for the next day. So the way that I show that on my budget planner, because I do like to differentiate, I will put like bank balance, and then I will put income. So then that way I can add those two up and they total, so that I am not wondering, why is this more? Like, why did I make more money? I didn't make more money, right? Like, and I'm trying to remember. So I will decipher it within my budget planner, and I will say bank balance and I will say income. Now, if it's over, like let's say I have a $500 like rollover balance. If I have like $500, I probably will take 250 of it and do something. I could save it, I could pay down debt, but I might do something with that, because I usually will roll over a balance of like 250 or less. And then I'll just like kind of let that sit, and then I might do something. Or possibly I could do something fun with like, 50 of it and then roll over the rest. But the idea is that I will always keep up with that rollover balance, and I will either roll it over into the brand new month, roll it into savings, roll it and pay down some debt, or just keep it there and just and have fun with it, or pay future bills with it. A lot of times that happens with my last check of the month. And I'll roll it over every single time in order to take care of the mortgage for the next month, or put toward the mortgage, because usually it's not enough to take care of it, but I'll put it toward something else, and it's definitely helpful. All right, best decision when I separated my accounts. I have income, bill pay, and daily spending. Same. And best decision I ever made, right, is separating those accounts, because it makes it, you talking about making it easy for you to stay on top of your money. That makes it easy. As soon as I get paid, all of the money goes into, I just split it up. Short-term savings, long-term savings, spending, and the rest sits in the bill account. And then the ones, as bills are coming up, they're paid out of that. Spending, I'm spending out of the spending account. When that account starts to get low, I already know that it's time to pull back, because that's the money that I moved for that particular payday. So it makes it much, much helpful for me to kind of stay on top of that. How would you best suggest securely storing passwords? So I like to use an app, and the one that I use, it is called 1Password. I love this app, first of all, because it has a main password that only you can get in, and they don't store it, which means that if you lose your password, you basically cannot get into it, which is kind of scary, but it's also very helpful because it also knows that it's secure, right? Because it's not stored anywhere, not even on their system. So the only way someone will be able to get into it is if it's you and you absolutely know. The other thing I love about it though, and I'm just trying to see if I can show it to you. Oof, I don't know if that, but you have categories. And I absolutely love this because I have categories for logins, for my secure notes, just different things I want for credit cards, but like if I have other passwords, if I need to keep track of social security numbers, bank accounts, driver's license, all of that can be within here. And I love it. I love having categories because I can easily search. So if I'm like, I don't know what category I saved this under, I go to the search bar, I type it in, and it will pull up and show me what I have in that particular category. The other thing you can also do is add tags. So I will add tags in order to like really subcategorize different areas or different things I'm trying to organize. So I can have a subcategory that's called kids. And so it's my kids' social security number and my kids' birth certificate. Like I can have copies of their birth certificates in there and copies of report card stuff or other things that I might need for their school or immunization files. And I can add the tag of kids. And then anytime I type up kids within the search bar, anything that I've tagged under the kids, any like document that I have that's for them, it will automatically come up. And so I absolutely love that as well. So that's, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just really love the app. So if you do download that, sorry, I don't have a code or anything. I really love this one, and I have used it for years. I can't even think, probably like over 10 years. I've used this app for so long because I just feel like it's much, much more secure than writing down my passwords anywhere, not even in my budget and not even in my planner, because I carry my planner everywhere. And if I was to ever lose it, I don't want to lose my entire life because of it. So that is something that I will do as well. All right, real quick. One of our incomes is commission-based. We never know when it's coming or how much. Would you plan that income on a weekly or a monthly paycheck? So usually when it comes to commission-based type income, I usually do not have, I don't set it in automatically. I create another budget for it. So when I am setting up my monthly budget, I am setting up the budget that I know off of the money that I am definitely going to have. So for instance, with the organized money is definitely, I don't know how much it's variable income. I never know how much I'm going to make. Sometimes I make a nice amount of money from speaking engagements and people buying planners and other things. And sometimes I don't make, I make a little money, right? Just depends on what's going on that particular month. So what I like to do is I have a set amount that I do pay myself. And this is what I consider my stable income, because this income, no matter what, this is usually what I will be able to pay myself. And so I pay myself every week, and I'm paying myself that set amount that I know the business always makes. And then at the end of the quarter, I will usually pay myself a bonus. The bonus is based on commission. It is based on sales. It is based on how well the business is doing. I do not budget for my bonus before I get the bonus. Once the bonus kind of hits my account, that's the only time where I will usually like set up, or I might have ideas for what I want to do with that money. So I might say, oh, when I get this money, I'm going to pay down this credit card, or I'm going to save for that vacation, or I'm going to pay this, that, whatever. But I don't actually do anything until the money hits the account. Once it hits, then I look at my list. I looked at the different things that I wanted to do, and then I will pay or set up a budget based on those things. I don't usually use that variable income for paying a monthly budget or a weekly budget, just because I never know how much it's going to be. Usually, I am trying to allocate that money for something else. Now, that does not mean that I don't need it to possibly catch up, right? I might say when I get the money, I might be like, "Ooh, I actually want to pay my mortgage ahead of time." And so I'll decide to pay something ahead of time or to pay off something else. But for the most part, I am not budgeting it before I get it because I don't know how much I'm going to get. And so it's really hard for me to set it. Like I could set up the expenses, but I can't set up the complete budget because I don't know the income. And so I will usually set up the expenses that I believe I'm going to do. And then once I get it, then I actually set it up. All right. And the last one is to use a monthly review checklist. This is something that definitely will help you as well. I have my monthly review checklist at the beginning of my budget planner because it's called my money routine. And this routine is all of the things that you want to do on a consistent basis. So this routine really helps you to kind of quickly be able to flow through all of the things that kind of completes your month, or like that you've done everything that you needed to do with your money. So here are some of the things that's on my budget review checklist, and it is to review all of my income for the month, review all of my expenses for the month. I will check and make sure all of my bills have check marks, all of them have been paid. I will track any of my debt payments. Where are we with debt now? Have I paid off some things? Is it lower than last month? What's my total? I will also update my savings. How much more have I saved? Did I save based on my goal? Did I reach how much I wanted to save in there? If not, where are we and what could I possibly do better? I will also evaluate, like I said, all of my financial goals. I will analyze my spending for the month. If I spent too much in a particular category, this is usually where I will add some type of rule to kind of stop myself. So for instance, when we were eating out way too much, I put a rule in place where it's like, okay, if it's not a Friday or a Saturday, we can't eat out. We have to find something. We have to cook something. And so just doing that definitely decreased how much we were spending and helped us to save so much more. And this is the process where you will plan for that upcoming month. But having a list, and this is just a checklist, a quick way for you to easily see what's kind of coming up, and let me make sure that I have done all of these things on a consistent basis. It will help you so much because how many times have I set up my planner and be like, oh, I forgot my closeout, or I forgot to update my savings tracker, or I forgot to look and see how much I was spending and add up all of our expenses and do that final review of all of our goals. And so doing this process or just having a list, and once again, once you set it up once, all you're doing is referring back to it. Same thing with the bill tracker. Once it's already set up, you're just referring back to it. Monthly calendar, once it's set up, you're just referring back to it. So you take a little bit of extra time on the front end to set everything up. And then on the back end, it makes it much, much, much easier to actually budget throughout the month because everything is it's flowing. You're in a flow, and it makes it much, much faster. All right. So I hope that this one has helped you guys. If you are a part of Organize You, we're going to be going a little bit deeper into that monthly review, that monthly checklist, because I wanted to do a deeper dive and show you all exact, like the flow and the steps as far as aligning your checklist with your overall goals. And so that is going to be a video that is going to be headed to your inbox on tomorrow. And to everyone else, we will be diving into a YouTube video on this upcoming Friday. And this Friday's video is going to be like an organized bag with me, like organizing my work bag, because a lot of you have always asked about my my planner and how I put it in my bag, how do I store it, and so that one is going to be like kind of like how I organize it, and it's going to be featuring Teddy Blake. So really excited for that. And I am definitely going. Oh, yes. So finances organize you is life planning and money planning. It's basically the same thing, kind of as like my channel. We talk a lot about budgeting and we talk a lot about planning, because how you learn how to plan your life is definitely going to save you money. And like learning how to do both really will help you get to your financial goals overall. Wherever you're trying to go, it's definitely going to be through the lens of some type of organization. So that's what we talk about there as well, and that's going to be the video for you all tomorrow. So I hope to see you all soon. I'm gonna try and see if I can do Wednesdays. I told you I'm really trying to figure out my schedule and get more into a flow, and hopefully I'm able to go live more often. I loved going live weekly, and so that's definitely going to be my goal. But I will see you all in my next live. And until then, keep organizing your life so that you can achieve your dreams. Bye, guys. Have a good one.